Deep breath.
Ooh, son.
Right. I'm overjoyed to have this guy here because it's taken a long time.
I knew he was coming in with that straight away.
Help me.
This guy, 20-year career, over 230 goals, an icon in the EFL. Teams such as Swansea, where he won the Football League trophy. He won it in a wonderful time with, I think, Lee Trundle.
Yeah.
He was at Northampton, Gillingham, AFC Wimbledon, where you got promoted through the playoffs. Wycombe, where we met and had amazing times and 2 promotions there. Amazing man, obviously, and also recently over the last 2 years won an individual award in the Sir Tom Finney Award for contribution to the EFL and to football. And that's just part of your football, and obviously I'll let you come on to speak to more about it. But also, as a person, he's one of the greatest guys I've ever met. I've had this privilege. I used to see him when I played football. We used to play against each other. Yeah, never really get to know someone. I knew how big and strong he was. But then you meet someone, you meet them as a character, you meet them as a person. And this guy is an amazing guy, an amazing person, has so much time for everyone, lights a room up when he goes into it, and every person he meets he has time for. It's the one and only Adebayo Akinfenwa.
Jeez. Hey, come on. I thought I was good at giving intros. Hey, listen, it's dope. I'll start by going into, see, Matt, you know you're my guy, innit? I know it took hella long to get in. Allow me. But nah, man, it's dope, man. Thanks for the introduction, and I'm glad to be here.
That was the most research I think we've ever done on this show, because I'd seen you. Was that own knowledge, or was that having?
So most of it I knew. Like we spent a lot of time together.
Yeah.
Like in the time we were at Wycombe, lots of conversations, and as I said, I have so much love for this man. Like say, playing against each other, and you play against people, and you see him, and obviously everyone has their own personas on the pitch. But then you get to meet someone, and you get to spend like literally all your time with them. You get to see what the real person is like, and this guy, there's no other.
Something you said there, which stuck straight away with me. One of my favorite. I like to listen to like a lot of motivational stuff when I train, or if I've been struggling and stuff. And there's a speech by Walter Bond, and he talks about. I'm sure it's Walter Bond. It's called Sharp Mindset, and he says, "Do you light up a room when you enter? Do you light up a room when you leave?" And everyone has always said when they've spoken about you, like, of course you're going to fill a room because you're naturally that big guy, but it's your energy and your heart and your spirit. And the second you stepped foot out of the car and walked in here, I felt that. I got the privilege of feeling that. And we spoke just a second ago off air, and we wanted today to be something a little bit different, more about what goes on outside kind of the exterior and what we know about you as an individual and as a football player, because there is clearly these incredible human characteristics that make you who you are, which has, of course, made you an incredible football player and then gave you an incredible career, but gives you what you have now, which is kind of a TV personality, almost like a household name. It's incredible.
Yeah, even when, I kid you not, right? I think those that know me, right? I think like anything, I think there's perceptions that you see and those that know you, innit? And, C-Mac touched on it in regards to, when you see somebody every day, sometimes you just see the person laugh and feel like, you know what, he's always at this. He's always, larger than life, which by default, that's me. I'm really an individual where I try to count blessings and not problems. I really do. But we're human. So C-Mac would be telling you, brother, if I'm tired or haven't had no sleep or hungry or don't like a decision, he'll see me on a day-to-day where he's like, yo, just leave me over there, yeah? So, and that's the one thing I really like, because, listen, I stand by being authentic. I think as you grow up and you get older, you become more comfortable in your own skin. And it's easy to say, hard to do. And I stand by that. But then you get up, and I stand by this. Listen, I don't need to be loved. I don't want to be hated, but I don't need to be loved. And especially I say that by people that's outside your inner circle. Don't get it twisted. I need my inner circle to love me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I do think you're a product of your experiences and environment. And because of my experiences in my environment, it shaped me to being who I am. So certain things which you touch on, I'm conscious about energy. I think your energy speaks before you say a word, you know, and I think sometimes you get to know that when you're with individuals. Sometimes before I've said anything, the changing room will know, all right, B's blessed, B's not. And I think there's an understanding when you know what your energy is. I think as you grow up, you then start to identify or clock your energy. So, I was made very aware, self-aware that, like you said, I know exteriorly, so just aesthetically, I'm a big guy. So regardless of what, I'll step into a room, and if I don't say nothing, or you just notice, man, I know that that's something that I can look in the mirror and see. But then there's also an energy which I also know. So I step into a room and I also know that my energy can affect a room. And I think because I was part of a changing room, that was very much, I can go in my changing room and my energy would affect the room. So I was very big on that. So especially as I've gotten older, I think when you're young, you're very much about yourself, you know, and then shit happens, you know, you have kids. I say shit happens with that. But, you know, you'll have kids, or you get a mortgage, or you get responsibilities. So stuff starts happening. So all of a sudden you start going from one version of yourself, and, you know, you adapt and you evolve to another version. So, but I'm self-aware to know that what I am, what I bring. So I'm self-aware to know that.
Authenticity is something we've discussed at length, something I've definitely struggled with in the past, and something only now, again, as you get older, that I'm embracing the parts of me I used to hide in order to be likable. And I think we don't plan these things. I haven't looked at questions, and nor has Craig. We just kind of sit here and like we said, we feel an energy, and we're so grateful that we get to do that. And we're grateful to do it, to be sat here today. But one of the things I wanted to ask you to begin with, and just to begin this conversation, was football isn't something that celebrates differences. Really, it pretends it does. And football players will often dress the same, will drive the same cars, want to follow the same route in order to be likable.
Right.
Now, naturally, you were different straight away, and that isn't something that's usually championed. It's something usually that someone would in the football game would hide from. But you said, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to be me in its entirety, and that, I think, probably liberated others to do the same. And people championed that. People went, okay, if it's okay for him to do it, then maybe I can go and be a little bit more authentic. Was that a conscious decision? Was that something in your earlier years you said, I'm going to go, because I remember hearing stories about Lithuania and what you went through there. And
so, like I said, I'll come back and I'll say this to everybody. I think we are naturally products of our experiences, naturally, right? And I will say, I didn't set out to be different because I didn't feel I was different, you know? So I weren't like, oh yeah, boom, I'm going to be this 16 and a half stone. I'm putting it down, maybe 17 stone. The worst, I don't even know why I got to lie about my weight. I don't even play football anymore. Fucking hell. But I didn't set out to be like, oh yeah, I'm this big guy who likes gym and I'm going to, you know, I'm going to pioneer or none. I played football. I thought I was a footballer. I thought I was bare quick. I thought I was bare skillful. I thought I was a footballer. That was it. But because I would say this, because you are a product of experience. So at a young age, at 18, my path took me to Lithuania at 18. So didn't set out, but all I knew was my big picture, my dream, my goal was to be a footballer by any means necessary. I would have said, nah, man, I'm going to sign for Liverpool at a young pup and go through that. Don't want no trials, no tribulations, because that's what I thought my ability was. Nah, man, like literally I went through, nah, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. But what I knew at a young age was I knew, and I guess as you get older, I guess I can articulate it better. But just as a youngster, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to be a footballer. But as I got older, it was more, how can I give somebody who I've just met or just come into my life on a temporary basis permanent status? That's as I got older. But of course, when I was younger, it was just, I don't care if you don't think I'm good. I'm going to be a footballer. That was just that. So forget, it weren't defiance. It was just, I loved football. So then at an age of 18, going to Lithuania, and literally, like, my daughter's 18 now, right? I still see her as a pup. I couldn't believe, in my mind, I can't fathom her going by herself to another country to go on. I'll be like, what are you talking about? No, she's gone to Manchester and it burns my soul. Oh shit, for me. Like, so I'm looking at it now, whereas of course I've gone through it when I was like, oh shit, but I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? But so driven by my goal and dream. But I got to Lithuania. And then you have the experiences looking back now as, but I didn't know the language. You know, I didn't know if I liked the food. You know, I didn't know about that racism of just being like, oh shit, I've been singled out because the color of my skin. None of them come into my head. I was like, I'm going to play ball. So then when you go out there and have experiences such as, and I've touched on it many, many times, you know, like my first preseason game, you know, we know how the games are when you play a lesser team than you're playing in like a park. So everybody's around the pitch. So it's close. But again, I'm just like, yo, it's football. Then boom, I'm hearing the monkey chants. First time I touched the ball. And again, I always try and put this into perspective, into sense where, well, I'm from London, grew up in a metropolitan area, went to a metropolitan school. Don't think I experienced racism actually in direct. Do you know what I'm saying? Didn't think I experienced any of that. So then when I'm hearing it, when I'm touching the football, or, you know, I touch the football, and plus this is something I love to do. So now I'm hearing monkey chants. And in my mind, I'm like, that can't be true, but they must be making music or doing something. And then all of a sudden that chant comes. I've said it, you know, zigga, 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 shoot the fucking nigga. That was the chant that was then echoing around. So I just remember, like, and it's the maddest things. I'm 43 now. It was 18. On God, I can remember it like it was yesterday. Just that experience, that chant that was rolling around, coming off the pitch saying I'm coming home. So anyway, skip that. Chat to my brother. He gives me not even a pep talk. Just says, listen, if you leave, they win. So remember, just in my head thinking, nah, cool, man, I'm coming home. I don't need this. Like, woke up the next day thinking, brother, ain't nobody gonna kick me out of or run me out of anywhere. And one thing I'd always say, I was always defiant from young. I was always self-confident in me as an individual. Of course, knowing through trials and tribulations, but I was always self-confident, especially when it came to football. So then when you go through something like that, and then I'll also say coming out the other side, so stuck with the football, managed to get the same people that was chanting to then cheer for me when I score. So then, you know, when you go through a bit, an experience like that, not purposefully, so this wasn't like I'm planning, I'm going to change your mind, none of that. It was at that point, go and do you. Be you and see what happens from that. And that's what it was. It wasn't like, oh, I'm trying to fit in. It wasn't like I tried to dress like them. If anything, it was like, fuck it, I'm going to go be me. Like, I'm here to play football. I know I can play ball. So then going through that, I think that was a pinnacle moment in my life as in character, to be like, look, at the end of the day, you got to do you. Like, if you fail doing you, you fail doing you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you've got to do you. So when I say I never started out to be different, I didn't, you know, but when you come through that, and then again, another trial tribulations, left there, came back, went to Barry Town, that club folded, had to start again trying to get a trial, did a loan at Orient. They said they didn't want me. See, just going through trials and tribulations. So everything just seems like a reset. But the one thing was never reset to me was I was always, bruv, give me an opportunity and I'm going to take a run at it. I'm grabbing it. And that was the mindset until I got the opportunity at, I think Doncaster was it. And then boom, once I was in it, I remember always thinking to myself, once I'm in it, brother, it's going to take a hell for you to kick me out of it. That was my mindset. So going back to your point about, you know, champion the individuality or the authenticity, I do think you're a product of your environment. And I think there's certain things which you can either get scarred by, which then hold you back, or it can actually be like, all right, look, you know what? I went through it and it didn't kill me. And I think that was what kind of went through me. And I'll always want to say this, like, because this is the aftermath. I think even on social media, I think people see the aftermath and think, oh yeah, you know what? It's easy. None of the shit we go through is easy. You know what I'm saying? But what I do stand by is saying that I knew what my end goal was, and that was to become a footballer. I think everything in between happens. You can't plan what happens. You can try and hopefully direct where it goes by the amount of work you put in. Sometimes it comes down to luck, but the authenticity shit came from that. It was always, look, at the end of the day, I'm going to stand 10 toes about what I am. But I would say this though, is even with all I'm saying, you still can't help human nature. I remember I used to, and I won't say dull my shine, but I remember I used to joke a lot because I knew when I walked into a room, people are going to see a big black individual. But I always knew that. So I was thinking, all right, look, how do I put people at ease? Because boy, I got a bald head. If I look all of a sudden that, it's all of a sudden, how can we? And I had managers be like, oh, you know what? If we leave B out of the team, could it be? You know, and it was that. It was always, you know, could we control, you know what I'm saying, his energy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I remember even that being like, oh, all right, look, man, let me put some people at ease and come in on a jokey thing sometimes and, you know, make sure they feel, okay, cool, I'm not going to be intimidating just us sitting down. And then, of course, then as I got older, I'm like, to be fair, by default, I like my energy. I like jokey shit anyway. I like to make people feel at ease. But I think that started off wanting to make them feel at ease rather than actually me just being like, okay, cool, we're all at ease, if you know what I'm saying. So I can touch on that bit, Calm.
That is exact. That's it. There's so much in that I could to unpack and this beautiful, because I do this or conscious or subconscious ability to try and allow your own light to shine will liberate others and encourage them to do the same. That's beautiful, and I know. But yours is very much more conscious. Is very much more an effort to. Being you is, and there's no phoniness to it. There's no fakenesses, and that it's really real. But that you said about dulling your light as well in order to make others feel same. So you're consciously walking into a room and thinking,
not now,
no, but before,
because I do think that certainly, I do this is what I'm saying, right? I do think sometimes you can be overpowering by default.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying? And one thing is funny because I remember G-Max saying this to me, right? I remember G-Max saying he saw the interview of the playoff final before he signed, right? And he was like, oh, never, I don't think we've met each other at this time. Maybe we played against each other.
This is Gareth McCleary.
McCleary, sorry. Yeah. I just, as football, I just give everybody nicknames.
Yeah.
It's hard even in the real world now because I just nickname her. Oh, yeah, I'm Sam. Yo, what's up, S? Oh, God, it's bad. But anyway, so, yeah, I remember him saying, he was like, yeah, B, you know what? Boom, I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I saw the interview and like, it's jokes and that, but I was like, yeah, you made it about you. This is what he said to me. Then he was like, yeah, I couldn't have got it more wrong. You know, now we're in the changing room. Do you know what I'm saying? So I know that sometimes you can just overpower individuals by who you are, you know? So early on, that's what I'm saying. I was conscious about, look, you know what? I don't want people to feel like, oh, they can't be themselves because by default, my energy is loud. That's what I knew. But I guess as you get comfortable, you're like, look, at the end of the day, yeah, but there's no malice in my energy. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've just got to go in and roll in. Sometimes, of course, some people don't, you know, may not be like to get hugged and shit like that and may feel awkward. And I think you kind of pick up on that. And if that is cool, say that, it's just cool. But I do think early on, it was, you know what, there can be this perception of, you know, and a perception of, and the thing is, growing up in our era, there was always that, you know, black people got chip on their shoulder. Or, you know, by the way we may walk or the way we may sag our clothes or all that perception used to come in. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? But I don't want to make them feel that I can be intimidating. So look, let me ease the energy in. And that was a conscious growing up. I remember thinking that. And then you get to that point where you're like, you know what, brother? If you don't check for man, then you don't check for man. So look, I can only be me. So as long as, I always say this, as long as there's no genuine beef between us, I'm like, look, I can only be me. So if you don't check for man, I keep saying it, I don't want to be hated, but I don't need to be loved. And I think this is why I say it's easy to say a bar like be comfortable in your skin, but you still have to go through the process to be comfortable.
I think that's amazing. You said like you said to a point there, obviously when you were at Latvia and all the racism was going, and you didn't want to prove them right and like change yourself to make them feel happy. You just did you.
Yeah.
And I think obviously that's a big thing in football because, you know, when managers come in and you want to play, you're going to do something different to get in that team. So for you to kind of embody that at the beginning of your career, obviously did that help all the way through? Because you know, you get managers who like you, don't like you. And obviously you would have seen it with other players who've kind of changed the way they act or who they are to try and fit in.
I think it's a blessing and a curse sometimes. I really do. I think the way I was. You listen, we know. First thing you said to me, this is the earliest I've been. So you know there's a trait that I've got, which I'm just late. And as much as I can chat to you and know, for some reason, I'm late. Like, it's mad. Like, but it comes to, I'm a creature of habit. So there's certain just things I've got to do. And I remember saying this, I used to be late to games. But my mindset was I would always, look, once in a while it may that I've left late, but I would always leave with that a proper amount of time. So say it takes an hour and a half to get in, I would always leave 2 hours. So that's a half an hour if anything happens. And then if I come up against something that I can't control that makes me 45, I would say this to the gaffer. I'm like, listen, this is my preparation was my preparation. It's rare that I'm leaving late, but that's me. I was so 10 toes in that, like, oh, fuck it, I left 2 hours. What do you want from me? But that's the curse, because like, well, brother, leave 2 hours and 15 minutes earlier. Like that was me. It was very much, look, I'm doing me, because what I learned, especially as I gotten older, I was like, look, I know my process. And especially when it comes to football, at the end of the day, you're judged on the pitch. So my mind was like, look, no matter how you want to see me through your eyes, at the end of the day, I know what best works for me to get the outcome that you want. So it was a blessing and a curse, because some managers like, fuck it, I'm telling you to do something, do it. And mine was like, what? Look, at the end of the day, as long as I'm doing me, but I do say this for me, because I don't like to be proven wrong, if I ask for something or I kind of go against the grain, I am very conscious to be like, but you can't then use that against me. So if I had a day off, I'd come and be like, listen, game day, brother, I'm on it. No, I'm not saying that I was always on it, but that's what drove me to be like, oh no, listen, I am me. At the end of the day, I am me. And I say this to my son, I'm like, but if you're going to be different, brother, you got to back your shit if you're going to be different. And that was one thing I'd always say. I was like, look, at the end of the day, there was nobody I felt like me that played. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I couldn't run the channel and that, but I was like, yo, I'm effective. There ain't nobody like me. And you play me, I'm going to score or I'm going to assist. So I was very driven by that, by being like, cool, I am me. But I do think that you have to be consciously aware to know it's so cool to be different, but you're still working with a restraints of being different in a world which there's perceptions of. Yeah. So no matter what, I can be different and say, but if I'm coming into you lot's world and my different don't mirror up, I'm just being different. Do you know what I'm saying? So I have to be different, but still work within your world. And that's how I perceived football. I was like, cool, I'm going to be different. I really am going to be different. I am going to be, as in, I know I'm different, not I'm going to be different. I know I'm different, but I'm conscious about even being different. When you come at me and say, yeah, but you came in at 5 to 10, or you didn't eat pre-match, or you did it this way, I'll go be like, yeah, because we're all different. And the way I run my mind and body, I can get this out of it. And then boom, 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 boom. And that was very much, that's how I was. So it was a blessing and a curse, because some people were like, brother, I just want somebody to comply. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
but you could talk the talk and walk the walk, because it wasn't like you were different and then you just kind of...
but you have to be that way. And that's the thing which I think I see with changing rooms and individuals. It was, buddy, you can't talk the talk, and then when they come at you, you then got to talk because you didn't show it.
Yeah.
That was the thing. I was like, listen, if I'm going to talk the talk, if I want an extra day, if I want, brother, I've got to be able to back it. It has to be a give and take. I think that's what you kind of have to quickly be that, but it's got to be give and take somewhere down the line. So if they're giving, and that be bending their rules, changing whatever it is, their mindset, you then have to give back, knowing that, oh, well, shit, I did it my way, but my way at the end of the day still mirrored up. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I was.
It strikes me that none of your differences would ever be laziness, though. It would never be you weren't having an extra day off because you wanted to just chill in bed. Like it was, I would imagine, and you can probably both answer this question, that your style of play, I mean, he's got lots of great goals and assists and stuff, but bringing people into play was a huge thing that you did on the pitch. And I would imagine off of that pitch, I feel inspired by you sitting with you for half an hour so far. Like I'm just listening, being in your presence is a gift to me alone, and I mean that. And I'm not, and I really mean that. And I would love to have been around someone like yourself, especially as a young lad coming through, who I knew I was different in different ways in terms of my psychology, how I did things, and I was a very sensitive, very feminine young lad, and I hid that, behind drink, drugs, women, aggression, all these things, because I was like, I can't celebrate who I am,
Right.
and no one in football in a senior role would have kind of just said, be exactly as you are, like do the things that you want to do, and don't be apologetic for those things. And I'm hearing that message from you now, not even necessarily in the words that you're saying to me directly, but by your very essence, your very being. So I suppose the question to both of you is, yes, you may have been a little bit late or a little bit different in those things, but I would imagine the energy you poured into human beings off the pitch was second to none.
Yeah, and again, I always say it, like, and I think footballers will understand what I say, and it's kind of like a club within a club, because football's so institutionalized and it's a bubble, and it's, for me, a understanding which people who don't play football don't understand. Like my family are my everything, right? My brothers, my best friends, they're my everything. I'm talking about from the birth to now, you know. But they even who they know me through and through don't understand what we have in the changing room. It's it's the craziest thing. It's a uniqueness in regards of a cross of cultures, personalities. And I say this, and you mentioned it, there's nowhere outside football that I would ever hang with a 21-year-old brother. Never. Unless he was family or I was, but my strike partner, I could be 40, my strike partner could be 20, and we can go and get food together or go chill or spend hours on talking. And what I felt it did, it made me feel younger, made the 20-year-olds feel older. 20-year-old footballers are just mature, as in its sense, in their essence, because of, and that's the thing where I say a changing room is just unique. And it's that when you said what you said in regards to, you know, you being you or being authentic, and you couldn't be authentic, and realizing that there's an energy that we've got or pour into others. I actually think that it's such a unique perspective to be able to, so me and C-Mac was different but the same. And it was just our backgrounds could have been so different, but our connections would just be unified, as in whatever it be, if it was a competitiveness, if it was to better ourselves, if it was to be fathers, if it was rejection, it was a compatibleness that we kind of had. And it would just be, sometimes I'll sit back and see the way C-Mac may interact with somebody, or Matt Bloomfield or Darius, or the changing room where you just interact. And I think it's such a due diligence as a senior player to be able to pass on a energy and a culture to say, look, you are always going to be at your best when you're at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
That is just period. It's the most, because I always say this, right? And what I think some people don't understand is, see, as a footballer, you go through your trials and tribulations in front of everybody. You go through your trials and tribulations being injured. You go through your trials and tribulations of being informed. And that's in front of everybody. There's no real hiding place. And especially growing up, it was, you can't see mental problems, but we can see physical problems. So I can see you got an injury. I can see you on crutches, but you can't see like, I didn't pay my bill, or I had an argument, or, you know what, I don't feel comfortable in this squad, or you can't see that. You know what I'm saying? Some people, you can feel it energy wise and be like, oh man, he's real quiet, or, you know, and we notice that, like, some players, as soon as training gone, they're gone. Do you know what I'm saying? And as long as you kind of know that that's them, you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, listen, football's work. So there's some people where football's work. They're like, come in, train, take my ass home. Cool. And then there's just sometimes where it's, some people ain't comfortable enough to be themselves. So they want to be around, but training's done and you go. And you kind of get those sort of feels as you kind of get older. So for me, and I still stand by it now, whenever I'm on TalkSport or whenever I am a player's player. Like, I really, and the reason why I say that, because I quickly know that, one, I went into a team game for that. It's a team game. I didn't go play golf, table tennis. I went into a team game. So I need my team, like, regardless of what. And then also what I really clocked was that, especially as I got older, it was that fact where I don't care what the manager says. I need you to trust me. I need you to trust me. I need, when we go past that white line, brother, we in this. And I was so, C-Mac will tell you this, for me, but we will hold meetings as a team. Because one thing as managers as players, it's very, a football club, as much as it's got all its positives and its glim and its glamour, but it is a place where it's so insecure because no matter what, I'm always up against you. As much as I'm fighting for my positions constantly. I'm fighting for contracts constantly. So to get that balance where, the better the team does, the better you do, it's hard because ultimately it really isn't. The team's always going to be there and we are hired help. So the thing is, because I'd gone through certain experiences, I perceived football as we hired help. But when we're together, we're together. So we're always stronger together than individually. So I was very much a player's player to be like, okay, cool, but we all need to be on the same page. Like we really do, because it's 11 of us, it's 14 of us, it's 16 of us. Brother, when I'm tired, I need you to run, brother. Or if they're trying to rough you up, brother, I'm there. And I always say Wycombe really had what it had was because it's very hard to, I won't say cover, but to limit one's weaknesses and embody people's strengths. And I felt Wycombe had that. It was very much, and I say that as a collective, if we can suppress our weaknesses as a collective and only just embody strengths, that's powerful. And that's something I knew as a player. So that's my bit where I say I was conscious. I was 10 toes down on, listen, everybody's got to try and be comfortable in this changing room because we all play a role. Don't get the game twisted. Everybody still has to do their part. So this wasn't a fact where, we're just blindly saying, okay, we're all in it together. But if somebody's a cancer or they're bad energy or they can really fuck up the apple cart, and we will really say that. But as you get older, you do realize, listen, the better the team do, bruv, the better you then end up doing, because even if they don't want you, you've come from a success. So there's only where you can go is slightly lower than a team that's higher. So if the team's fucking up and you can then only drop. So that's that mentality that as you get older, you learn. Because football's a selfish game. And I keep saying this, right? There is nothing wrong, and I'm talking about the football industry. And I was saying this there's nothing wrong with being selfish, because at the end of the day, every single person ultimately will have their own responsibilities or their own dependence. And that be the same with the manager. The manager be like, the team's going to lose, he can't pay his mortgage, so he don't see you as a brethren. And that's not bad. Chairman's a businessman. It's like, look, at the end of the day, brother, if you're an asset, I'm going to sell you. Other players, I'm up against my strike partner. I check for him, but boy, he's starting before me. I don't want him to score a hat-trick. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're always up against, it's that industry but if you then can, and it's not easy, it's not easy, but if you can get characters together that blend well, that's where you get success. So sorry, it's long-winded, but the reason why I keep coming back to the fact of I use Wycombe as always my sounding point, because that's what we had. And even when we signed, we were called Dad's Army.
we were written off. We were going to get relegated.
But we was getting relegated, and this is what I say, right? We had mutual respect but mutual driven goals. So boom, man was 34, 35, said, man, they're done. C-Mac come in, 30-something, said he's done. Tyson come in, done. JJ come, done. Bloom's coming, done. So they're looking up for we know, but you know what experiences we got. You know when shit gets hard, that we're not all of a sudden saying, oh man, it's his fault. But we all knew it was our fault. And we was able to really have characters. And then you see the young bucks, the Nick Freemans, the Dominic Gates.
Luke 09. Luke 09.
Luke 09. You had these young bucks come up and see like, oh, raw, we can be ourselves. And I'll come back to this. I don't care what anybody says. Good, bad or indifferent, being yourself is the most important.
And that's why we were so successful.
That's why we were successful.
It's the most, and I've spoke to you about this before, it's the most authentic dressing room I've ever been in. Like, you could be whoever you wanted to be within reason.
Yeah.
But you could do as much as you want, as long as you turn up on that pitch and you give everything for the team. there was nothing like you were saying. Like, if you're going to do you're going to give back and you're going to make sure you do you. And there was every player on that team, and you were a big part of that, because again, you got your days off, you got your things, but you came in and you put the work in, because you could have quite easily gone, I'm 34, 35, I'm going to go take my days off, I'm going to come in a little bit, but you came in and you grafted, and then that kind of set the tone, because obviously you had me, Adam Alab, you had older pros as well. I think sometimes older pros, you can get around each other and you go, oh, he's taking a day off, but when you get older pros and you go, he's had a day off, but he's come in and he's grinding his arse off, he's doing it, and then the young lads see that, and there's no room to hide. None of the young lads can hide and do it. They see the pros doing it. That's what it built, and we were relegation favourites that season. They said they were a bunch of old boys. Like, we absolutely battered teams. Like at one stage, I think we had a team. There was no one under the age of 30 in our team, which was really ridiculous.
To this day, and you'll know this about him as well, because you spent plenty of time with him. I don't ever hear you talk, proudly about some of your football career when you should have been, because you had an amazing career.
Yeah.
And I've sat with him in his dark moments. I remember a couple of years ago, we sat in a Starbucks not far from here, and I got his clips up from him playing, and I said, I'd never seen this before. Like, I was his friend before and knew about his football. Like, I hadn't actually gone and deeped it and looked. And I went on YouTube and I watched his highlights and I went, oh, this is you. Like, this is you. And he still couldn't really watch it. But the only thing in your career I've heard you talk about with real, like, excitement is this time at Wycombe. It's the only time I've ever seen you really light up about football, is explaining. And you weren't really explaining to me individual games, individual goals. You explained this. You explained this feeling. And I made me so happy. I remember the episode we did it on. Yeah. And it made me so happy because I could see you fondly remembering a period of time in your career, because it's not something you've always done.
No, I think the dressing room was just immense. Like, you could just go in and say, be yourself. Like, I'd done all right up until I had a good career, but like, just didn't feel, I don't know, just didn't feel like right. And then you got to that dressing room.
Sorry, this is not to cut you, but this is what I'm saying, right? Like, there's two elements which I actually want to ask you, because you've actually got something. But there's two elements. See, even that, my man said he had a good career up until Wycombe. Brother, his career superseded mine by the time he come to Wycombe. But that's what came in. So, and this is the thing, right? And this is what I'm going to spin off. Like, I'm going to spin off this. Like, was you ever a club when you kind of knew you was the main guy? So, kind of all eyes were on you. Did you kind of know? Was there a time like that?
A bit of Peterborough, yeah.
Okay, so at Wycombe, in regards to energy and character, I knew what I brought. So I knew that. And I do think it's very, very, I think you have to be careful. And I've had this with older pros, I've had this with managers, in who you give and I won't say power per se, but that extra responsibility to shape. It don't matter if it's a home, a workplace. It's whoever you give that responsibility to, you have to be very careful, right? So I had known at Wycombe, maybe by the second, but to be fair, by when I signed, that, a lot of things was going to fall on my shoulders, as in my character-wise, right? So even that, when he mentioned that, so because I knew that, I was conscious I was like, look, this ain't taking a piss, but I can't come in Monday because I'm doing this brand deal. I ain't coming in Monday because I wasn't coming in on Mondays prior. So that's how the setup I had already with the manager. But different players are in different, whatever it is, places in the club. So, okay, maybe I've got to do more to get into a team. And some players may think, B's doing less and he's still in the team, So I was very conscious but when I walk into a room, it was never that I could take the piss. The only thing is, they just knew there was certain things you couldn't do. You couldn't fart on the coach. I'll punch you up. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, I was like, look, I am one of y'all lot. We are, don't get the game twisted. The gaffer does come to me but what I wanted to know was, what I was in the culture was, brother, we're in this together. So if we ain't happy as a team, it don't matter what the gaffer wants. We're not going to perform on the team. So because I was conscious in that, and I think you have to be conscious with what the group that control the culture. that's what we had. But where I knew it was a success was somebody of C-Mac's achievements came in and was just, I've had an all right career. Like, he's coming to Wycombe saying he's had an all right career. By this time, he had gone to Brighton for big money. You know what I'm saying? Played for Peterborough, scored hella goals, played an international. So when we're rolling with stuff like that, we're like, brother, how can we not? Because that's the characters we've got in this changing room. But also is, because it always used to make me laugh. Like, Stockdale used to be the same. Like, I would be like, shit, look what I did. And I didn't even play where you lot got to. If I played where you lot got to, fuck it, I'll be kicking it with Messi. That's how I'd always be. I'll say this to him now. I'm like, but why you downplay? But are you that guy? Like, that was one thing I'd always loved, is the fact where, brother, I would, because they would always not, C-Mac was one of them, Stocks was another, you know, Darius was another, Tyson was another. Like, these players that, brother, like all these players I've mentioned, I hadn't played where they got to. Yeah. I hadn't got to where they got to. So I'm sitting down with them and I'm in awe the way they're just like, yeah, man. And it wasn't like they're being big time or genuinely, this, you've been around him, genuinely, he's just like, yeah, man, I've had an all right career too. I'm like, brother, if I could reel off who I played against, I'd be like, and that was beautiful for me. It was because I maximized, and I'll say this, I maximized my abilities. I was still disappointed because I wanted to get to the Prem. That was me. I felt I was good enough, but my path, my journey, God set that out for me. So when I sit down and chat and they got to where I was like, brother, we can reel off your clips. Brother, you scored that volley. Brother, you scored that goal. You was, oh my days, you was, but it's powerful when you get, and people say it, when you get the right energy together, it is powerful. And I think that's when we talk about what we talk about, and anybody that was in that Wycombe era, that changing room, that period, we had the right energies together, and it's powerful. And I keep coming back to, I know the role I had. And I think that's what it is when it comes to team dynamics. You've got to unequivocally be comfortable with the role you've got. I knew the role. I knew I was at the top. I knew, and I was like, yo, man, there's people watching. And, you know, be it my age, older, younger. But if we got to succeed, but I got to pull my weight on where I got to pull. I take what I got to take for me, because we all have to. And that's the thing. You can't give everything of you, because at the end of the day, you've got things outside you that are going to depend on you. It's just by default. But you know what you're going to give. And that's just at that point. So I think that Wycombe era for me was, it's a very good way of just kind of rounding up my perception of life. That for me was that. I can reel off Wycombe's changing room, that 6 years. Like, I'm talking about that 6 years at 34 was both on and off the pitch, my most successful. In my career, was my most successful. And that coincides with having the right energy together. And when you get the right energy, boy, anything can happen.
So much of what you're saying right now is translates to life, does it? It's football as his life. And I met Craig as he finished football, and you really struggled with that. And that was a very strange transition period for you now. And I'm really happy to say I can see you now flourishing again. It's taken a little while, but he's flourishing, and it's beautiful to see my friend doing that. As you, because I'm conscious this podcast isn't just about you, the player. This is about what you're doing now, because you're doing incredible things after football,
right?
As well as what you did in football. How much of this did you then take? Because your career finished as well, right?
Yep.
And firstly, did you suffer with any difficulties at that time, or did you just throw yourself straight into something else and use the skills you'd learned from football to then go and help more people in what you do now?
Yeah, I will say I was blessed. I didn't struggle, not one little bit, in regards to when I retired. One, because I actually never thought that I'd be able to leave football on my terms, because of I played in the EFL the whole time. So when you look at it, in your mind, you're always like, all right, cool, man, I got to get to the pinnacle, because that's what it is. We know we got a short period of time. But my whole career was EFL. I played champ 39. So that coincides with the money you get. Like, our era wasn't, you wasn't getting paid what they're getting paid now. Do you get what I'm saying? So I always knew I was going to have to work. So, but then there were certain conscious things in where I was like, but if I can run, I'm going to go play football. That was that was my thing. I was like, listen, but it's just pain for me if that's what it is, but I'm going to play the game until I can't run no more. That was the mindset. So I think what I was very lucky, two things I was very lucky. I actually picked the time I was going to retire. Yo, I'm going to retire at the end of the season. So there wasn't no, this just come out of nowhere. No, to be fair, I probably would have retired the year before, but product of experiences and environments, we went into COVID. So then it was like, it doesn't actually feel right to retire when there was no fans. When I started with fans, I was like, nah, we'll play again. But then also what I would say, and again, it comes back to blessings and curse, but I was planning for retirement while I was playing. Like I was literally planning for retirement, and I was so lucky to be in an environment, in a club, in a changing room that allowed me to literally do that. And this is what I say for myself again, but I went to, and this is not me flexing, I'm just talking about what I had known as planning. I went to 3 Super Bowl finals and missed games because I'd had a relationship with the gaffer to be like, look, Gaff, this is what I'm doing. Like, I'm literally, while I'm playing, I'm trying to build because I know I'm going to have to work when I finish. And so, again, when football had done for me, I literally walked into some things that I'd already set up. I was, on Friday nights, and we had a game on Saturday, I was doing punditry for Sky, so I was already. But again, what for me, I doubled down was, I don't think we actually lost whenever I did Sky on a Friday. Not saying it was for me. Not saying it was for me. But
I don't know if that's true or not.
Gaffer. So they said this to Gaffer. So Gaffer said, yo, every Friday, make B go do Sky. But I do remember myself being, because you've got to be conscious, because fans see everything. Social media see everything. So, and that's the one reason why I do put Gareth Ainsworth on a pedestal, you know what I'm saying, in regards to managers, because there's always that comeback. I was one of the main strikers at that time. And he was like, listen, I know what I've signed. I've said to B, when he signed, I know what I've signed. Whatever it is you're doing outside, as long as you give me notice, you can go and do. So again, I was already preparing for retirement while I was playing. So when the time was done, it was an easy transition because I took everything from football. But also what I do think was easier for me was, like I said, very early, I'd learned that, but we're hired help. Like footballers are hired help. And I think sometimes I wouldn't say misguided in regards to thinking that you're kind of more than that. But I remember early, I was at Swansea, and I won't say the player's name, but the player he used to chat to the gaffer all the time. After, we would say he was like a teacher, the gaffer's pet, you know what I'm saying? That's how we would perceive him, right? And I remember, it's the crazy thing, it just stood out. He got benched on a Friday. So the gaffer picked the team on a Friday. He wasn't in the team. And the gaffer didn't like conflict. So as soon as he said the team, it's gone. The way the player couldn't understand that the gaffer didn't put him in the team because they had this relationship. I just remember looking, I was 23 at the time. In my head, I'm thinking, what you look gaffer think your brethrens? Like that, just that. That's how I just thought. Like, there's not one gaffer that I'm brethrens with. But so then I was like, but he wants to win. So him laughing and joking with you, but at the end of the day, if he don't feel like you're the one that's going to benefit the team, he gonna pick the team regardless of what. But he couldn't, I swear down, he was devastated. It stood with me anyway, but that's just one bit that stood out to regards where I was like, but listen, we hired help. I can't remember, and this is no slight on any club, but there's not one club that's texted me and said, yo, B, have you got money for the mortgage? It's not one. I don't expect it, but there's not. So I know as soon as I'm no longer effective for them, but that high help's gone.
Yeah.
So I was very much aware, cynical or not, very much aware. As footballers, we're hired help. Cheers. But we don't score, we don't play. You know what I'm saying? The manager comes in, if you're not his style, you're gone. I knew this. So by the time I got to the end of my career, I was cool. Football was something I did. It wasn't who I was. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no matter, even when people say now, oh yeah, you know, here's Akinfenwa the footballer. Whoa, retired.
Yeah.
Retired footballer. Like, because I knew my identity wasn't just football. Don't get twisted. I knew it was my vehicle, but I knew it wasn't just me for me.
Yeah.
I knew how the world see me, you know what I'm saying? But for myself, I was like, yo, so that bit where I'd finished, again, two reasons which came into it. One, I was done. I'd really took everything out the game. Like, it was perfect bar Sunderland beating us.
Yeah.
Bar Sunderland beating us, it was perfect. At the beginning, I can't remember what we called it, the last show, whatever it was at the beginning, that was it. Come boom, finish on a high. I think I started 5 games. And I remember, to be fair, there was one point where the bit I was pissed with, and I've just kind of, because I remember being disillusioned with the gaffer at that time, because I was like, but you know this is my last dance. That's what it was called, the last dance. I was like, you know it's my last dance, man. Like, how come you ain't giving me like more game time, innit? Even though me and the gaffer was tight, me, man, you can't do Volks, he can do more than you at this time, innit? So I remember I was like, brother, then I ain't travelling to away games. Like, so he was like, cool, man. Like, fair enough, man. Don't travel to away games. And then I remember it took like 3 weeks to come out my feelings. This is still at 40. Still at 40. My feelings.
Yeah.
So then I was like, it's cool, man. And I remember just conversating with Blooms, and he was younger than me, but the captain, senior pro. Like, B, man, you're a long time retired, man. Like, take in this, because once you're retired, you're never gonna do this shit again. I remember being, you know what? I think the last 3 or 4 games, I travelled with the squad, even knowing that, oh, maybe I won't play, so I'm going all that way for maybe 10 minutes. But just flip the mindset. So that 10 minutes was, all right, that's 10 minutes. This is, I'm going to travel. So coming back, I know I've gone all the way around. But to be fair, with the whole retiring and it being, I was okay, because it wasn't like I had lost my identity. I'd think that, and I say this to people now, I'm like, we have a lot of free time. And with that lot of free time is planned, because even if you play the game for 20 years, by the grace of God, you're still living 80, 50, 60, whatever it is. So you are a long time retired. So I'll start planning things you enjoy, start doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say I was good at, because I was doing it with my safety net of a contract of football. So I could do trial and error. So I'd be like, all right, listen, I enjoy this. Let me go and do this. It's not like I'm doing this because it needs to pay the bills, you know? And then, but like I said, I was planning for retirement while I was playing. So I would say I was one of the lucky ones.
So you are so grounded in who you are. So grounded in who you are. And obviously I wasn't. My identity was football. And I know there's loads of young kids out there who is their identity is football.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't plan for to finish, which buggered me about massively. And I know there's probably loads and loads of players.
Yeah.
So you're so grounded in who you are. If you've got like a pro now, or anyone listening, like, how can they ground themselves like you have?
You know, the reason why I say this, I look at it like this. If you strip everything away, yeah, what will be there? So that's how so I was like, look, you can strip everything away, but B's still going to be B. Like, don't get it twisted. If there's more problems, I may not smile as much, but in my core, I'm going to be there. So what I would tell every pro is, brother, football is not you. Football's something you do. Don't get the game twisted, right? I do think there is I won't say flaw to my mindset, but I do think the elites, while they're in it, it's only football. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think they asked the question, if they ask me now, could I live like Ronaldo? I probably couldn't. Even though I see what he was getting, I probably don't have that discipline to that degree. So there is levels and layers to this. But I do say this, right? I think that you've got to be able to, and I again, 21-year-old, if it's a 21-year-old individual, I do think what I would say will resonate different to a 31-year-old. You know what I'm saying? And it is exactly what we do, in the sense where I was at 21. I was like, yo, man, football's everything. You know, if I lose, it's on my mind. I don't have my daughter. So, for fuck's sake, brother. Like, at the end of the day, this ain't life or death. And then when you get a bit older, somebody's close to you, brother didn't open his eyes. Then you're like, well, brother, I was clumsy because I missed a pen, or we didn't get 3 points. And so as you start evolving, all of a sudden, different experiences start hitting differently. And I'll always say this, especially to fathers. I don't care. The day, and mums, the day you bring a kid into the world, the way you look at life is different. I'll always say that. But just to end this point in regards to, you know, dealing, I honestly think you have to see the bigger picture, right? And the bigger picture is the fact that, as we know, or as we hope, our career will start, you have to know your career will end. They're just two things. As we know, the sun comes up, sun will go down. We know that. And when I say it as it points, I do think that it'll be harder for me to say if your career is taken away from you. It's taken away from you, it's taken away from you. That's, everybody has to go through that process. But the grounded or comfortable is that, I always say this, but take what it is I do away, I'm still going to be me. And I think that's where those that come through that process, and now you're like, right, you know what? I went for a dark period, and it wasn't all that thing which I didn't think I could, that's no longer there, but you're still standing. You're still who you are now. And I think that's what I would say to everybody. I'm like, listen, let them strip everything away from you. And listen, don't get against it. There's nothing I've did alone. And I say this to everybody. I've been very fortunate. I've been very lucky to have a support system, be that family, be that friends. Same with teams. You know, you have a support system. It's different if you don't and you're isolated. I always say that the most powerful thing I own is my mind. If it ever started working against me, it'd be a problem. I'll say that to individuals. Do you know what I'm saying? But luckily, it's always kind of worked for me. So, but I just say, strip everything away, be it whatever it is, materialistics, be it what people are known you for, what you perceive yourself as your identity. Strip that away. If that is not, you're still going to be at your core who you are. And if not, that's what you first got to work on. You first got to work on, at your core, you are who you are. So you play football. Football kind of don't play you, if that works. Because I heard an analogy which is a bit stupid the other way when you try to flip it. But you get what I'm trying to say is you're playing football. Football 100%. Is not you in regards to that.
Reminds me of something. We had the pleasure of sitting down with Dudley Stokes last week, who is the Jamaican bobsleigh pilot, four-time Olympian. And he said something very, very similar. I think we were kind of in awe of him as well as we are in this conversation. And he said, in his bobsleighing, he said that I knew exactly what date that was coming and I worked back from there. So he said, that's the date that I'm going down. I'll look at long-term weather forecasts. All my training is built up to that point. And he said, we asked him kind of a similar question about life. And he said, I just work back from my funeral now. He said, I'm going to die. That's happening. The sun comes up, the sun goes down. He says, I'm going to die. And he said, what I think about from there, what I'm working back from is, he said, I don't want to hear what the eulogies say because they're going to say nice things because they have to. He said, I want to hear what the chit-chat says at the back of the room about me as a person, how I made people feel. And he said, if that chit-chat's right, if they can tell that I was a good guy and I helped people and I did these things, he said, I'm good. I'm good. And listening to you there, the beauty is in the simplicity, isn't it? Is in that kind of, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
What am I when this is all gone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you imagine having heard something like that as you were finishing?
We had good chats.
Yeah, we did
throughout that, and I think talking to you helped me because I mentally, up until that point, I wasn't always there, and I think coming into Wycombe, it was just, that's why I love it so much, because I felt just relaxed. Like I felt not like I didn't have to prove myself, and it was just I was around people that got me and got what we were all trying to do, and we had good chats. You knew that I was struggling throughout my time, and
because it does. You know what I sometimes can't fathom is how you don't see yourself how others see you.
I know.
For me, I sit there and I'm like, oh shit, I'm running with what I got. If I had what you had, oh Lord, that's how. So I'd sit there and I remember sometimes I knew, because there were times you came in and your face was, you didn't sleep. I was like, see, man, what's up, man? And I was like, Seema, don't you know what you've done? Don't you know how much you've accomplished and achieved? And listen, and again, and this is what I'm saying, I'm self-aware enough to know, you know, there's times when you take stock. So sometimes I take stock. Sometimes, you know, you just want to make yourself feel blessed. I'm like, yeah, man, shit, man, I did this. Oh, I did, oh, shit, sometimes I'm that guy. Or sometimes I got to flex on the kids. I say, well, your dad's that guy. What you know, sometimes you kind of, you know, you got to kind of be, I'm self-aware. But, and then this is what I was saying. I'll be like, yo, don't you know what you've done? And because it's just you. So you're just doing you. So you're seeing it tunnel vision, just doing you. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's the same. I'm like, look, but I'm just doing me. So, but of course, there's a goal at the end of it. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, that we achieve. But again, if you strip it away and you say, and I was like, listen, I was doing me. Do you know what I'm saying? Of course, there's trials and tribulations and there's shit. Sometimes you look at it in hindsight, it's a beautiful thing. But at the end of the day, I was like, yeah, I was just doing me. But I can take stock in knowing, oh yeah, you know what? I achieved some shit. So when I chat to Seema, you don't know. And that's what sometimes when I speak to individuals and I'm like, nah, man, like if you want to just, and I say it's in the simplicity, it's the simplicity of just taking the fact where, but I can tell you a million people have tried and not got anywhere and will never get anywhere to what you've accomplished. That's just that in its default setting. Like, so I'm like, yo, man, brother, know that shit. Do you know what I'm saying? I swear it's that. Do you get what I'm saying? So, but yeah, when we say that, it's like, it's, again, I do think it's powerful in people will say that, you know, protect your peace. But then also when you protect your peace, it's also knowing what you're putting yourself around. You know, I'll always say this, man, show me your brethrens, I'll tell you where you be in 5 years. That's just period. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and I was very much on that. I'm like, yo, man, you surround yourself with, it's the same, like, but I've got an Apple Watch and I'll see when them man finish a workout. So I'm like, oh shit, I can't let them flex on me. And that's being around people that are pushing themselves, are inspiring themselves. And that's why I'll come back and say, listen, when people say, oh, wow, man, you know what, you speak this and you speak that, I was like, look, man, because there's nothing I did by myself. I try to surround myself with that environment, which allows you to be the best version of yourself. And I think that's where it is. I think when you talk about the simplicity, it's simple in its saying, so difficult in the doing, because first and foremost, it's us against us, or it's you against you. Before you go and take on the world, it's you against you. But you can be fake to the world. You can't be fake to yourself. So it's you against you. And the simplicity is, brother, when you are comfortable with you, brother, you can take on the world. That's how I look at it. So I say that with me getting on the bike, it's a fucking love-hate relationship every morning. You know, I can do a video and just keep reloading it to the world and everybody be, well, Akinfenwa was on it. You know, but I know I didn't do shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's you versus you. And I say this to individuals. I'm like, yo, but at the end of the day, and this is real, because we are a product of our environment and we are very much driven by society and what's seen, because we're visual creatures. So it's that acceptance. It's the acceptance, but it's like, it's the craziest thing is it's, some people his mood would be dependent on how many people have validated them or liked them that they don't know. Like, it's just, it's that, and that's how we are that's how we become in life. And it's like, listen, if you can validate yourself again, and when I say yourself, I use that in regards to your inner circle, because I've never been alone like that. So I'm lucky like that. So when I say this, it's shit when I am down, or when I do feel like, oh shit, a lot's on my head. I chat to my brothers, or when there's a lot, I chat to my boys, or chat to my kids. You know, I talk, because like anything, we are human. And, you know, Amber said something in regards to, I'm very much, okay, no, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I actually don't really like to stand still, but I do like to take in the moments, because as you do get older, you realize tomorrow isn't promised. So that's bit where you're like, all right, look, man, let's try and take in as many experiences as possible. And at the end of the day, however people perceive you is how they perceive you. But if you do it their way, they're going to perceive you. If you do it your way, they're going to perceive you. So if you've got one or two options, do it their way or do it your way. Shit, why not do it your way? And that's just the realist. Don't get it twisted. We have to conform to certain degrees. There's nobody. I'm not turning around here saying, fuck it, rah, rah. I'm not saying any of that. But what I am saying is that at the end of the day, if you've got 10 scenarios, I believe 8 of them should be your way. I think sometimes you're like, but I'm gonna have to give or take here, because that's life. It's give and take. But that's what, to be fair, that's what I live by. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's not saying, and I'll say a point, right? Recently, right, I put up a post, a tribute to Jota, right? And I remember I got slated. Oh Lord, it was the first time. It was the first time that I got slated for something that, for me, was something I was doing because I just had a connection with him.
Yeah.
That was just and I remember, brother. It was the first. It was, and I was like, but this is not even a moment for you to kind of come at me, like. But oh Lord, on my. So I remember that was the first time I remember my brother saying, but as much as I was saying, as much as I know, my brother's like, but you know the net, brother, you know it. You can't fight it. We've had conversations like that. But even though I knew it, it hit me. Yeah. I was like, yo, man, motherfuckers are crazy in this world. Honestly, I was like, and it was the only time where I would say that the internet or something got me, even though I actively knew it prior. But it hit me different because the situation hit me.
Yeah.
Like the situation hit me by itself. Yeah. I was like, yo. And then I was like, yeah, I did something. And then I remember people seeing what they wanted to see. And I think after I went through that, it just reinforced that, yo, it don't matter what you do. People are going to see it how they want to see it. Like literally. So that what I'd say is the most, that reinforced me, where I was like, oh shit, brother, you can't win. I think, and I looked, I was like, the internet's like a football pitch. Like, brother, you can't beat fans. If you're on the pitch and you can't beat them. They're calling you fat. You're like, you can't beat, you can't. Yeah, accept it. It's the same with internet. Yeah. Like, you can't beat it. Yeah. So don't try and take it on. Yeah. Like, I remember at that point, I was trying to explain. I was like, how are you lot? And then I remember I was blocked. I was like, how? And I remember just being like, trying to get my vision to them. Yeah. That's what I was trying to do. Then I remember thinking, what the fuck am I doing? Yeah. It's like, they're going to see what they're going to go see anyway. So you know what? See what you're going to see. If in my heart, I know what for me was my heart. That was my tribute, X, Y, boom, boom, boom. But that's why I say that even though you can actively know something, shit, life's still going to come at you. And it's still going to, but then it's how you process to it. But yeah, man.
I've had this question on my mind a little while now. And it was something you'd said a minute ago. And believe me, when I ask you this is asking for your help, because I don't get it right myself, and Craig tells me off for this. So, beast mode, the foundation of all of that, which I completely agree with, by the way, is relentless hard work. Right. I see you on that bike every morning. Right. I see you on that bike every morning. And I see, when we were at Southampton together, I see the state your knees in. Like, I see how bad things are. They don't fucking stop you. You're there doing it every day. So I understand that, and I embody that myself. Like, I own a gym. That's what I do outside of the podcast. Like, and I'm there, the first one there in the morning before 6 a.m. I'm the last one to leave at night, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours later. I'm always there. And the rhetoric that relentless hard work is the only tool in pursuit of greatness is something I struggle with, because I'm like, I need to keep working. So my question to you, to help me and maybe help others, is how do you chill, bro? Like, what do you do to chill?
But do you know what it is, right? I look at it like this, and I guess it came more visual as I retired, right? So we all got vices. Yeah. You all got vices, right? So my vice, I do like to travel, is my vice, and it's going to sound so crazy, but I like the choice of eating what I want to eat. Yeah. It's my vice, right? So I like my bourbon biscuits. I like my bourbon biscuits.
I would have never thought of that.
I like my bourbon biscuits.
That's an exclusive, right?
I like my bourbon biscuits.
I know I'm going to get you Christmas.
But the big ass packet. I ain't like the big ass packet. I'll play games. But so the reason like this, right? I look at it like this. There's two things. I'm like, I don't think there's a problem with grinding and and working hard when it's for your big picture.
Yeah.
Ain't got a problem with that. I'm like, yo, I remember it was Westy. Westy used to be part of my car school, and we used to have to leave for 7. I used to drop him, and then he'll see me post, and then I think I'd end my day at like 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So, and then he'll come in the morning, I'll be like, oh, I'm a bit tired, you're driving, rah, rah. And I remember him saying to me, he's like, rah, man, you put in the work. And I was like, yeah, because the work at the end is for my big picture. So I would say problem, where I look at it is, but if you're given 15 hours and somebody else is on the beach chilling, that's my problem in regards, because you're trying to better yourself. But then you have to know what your vice is. So you have to know that, brother, you ain't working 15 hours to then not enjoy the moments, the experiences, and the fruits of your labor. So you got to know your vice. So like I said, my vice is, I know, brother, if I'm going to have a Coke and a bourbon, for me to enjoy that, the balance is, but I got to go on a bike tomorrow. So that's mine. So, but I take my enjoyment because I'm aware of that. So, but the maddest thing, where I say I knew it was because I wasn't training. So I weren't doing the bike and training, but I was eating a little bit more because I had more time. And my belly got big. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, so I was like, oh, shit. So for me to enjoy what I want to enjoy, but I got to grind on that. And that's why I say it's give and take in this world, be it give or take with you or give or take to yourself. You have to give and take. You have to be able to take from your work and give to your work. Yeah. So if you're grinding, if you're like, yo, brother, this is it. Like, I work. Like, don't get it twisted. But I can work way more. But if like I'm talking, so let me say this: the want of working is there. So I'm like, yo, man, shit. If I'm just chilling for a week, that same thing I was chilling, I actually could flip and work. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, I'm like, listen, I ain't working to die. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's. So I'm like, all right, cool. If I'm gonna go, people ain't gonna see me for a month, or then after that grind, if I want to go travel, I'm going to go travel because that's what I like to do. Okay. So you have to give and take in every aspect. So the give is you give yourself. The take is the energy you're taking to build. So that's just you. That's you. Like, cool, man. I got there 6. Don't need any validation from anybody else. I got there at 6. I'm leaving at 12. Cool. Don't need any validation. So I'm doing that 7 days a week. So that's the grind. I'm there grinding. So then the problem where you then have to regulate yourself is then if you take your time and you can't take yourself out, that's the problem. So if you then go on holiday, but then you're still thinking about the gym 7 days a week, that's where I'll turn around and be like, oh, listen, you really got to learn how to take yourself out because it's give and take. So you're actually taking yourself out of you working so you can then work again. Because that's what it is. So you're literally still telling yourself, but I'm going to do this and then enjoy this so then I can do this again. And then enjoy it so that I can do this again. Yeah. So it's in essence, you're still being the best version of yourself and you're still getting all aspects of what you want. You're just telling yourself, all right, cool, Baba, I enjoy working. So for me to maximize my work, shit, I also enjoy traveling, or I enjoy eating, or I enjoy whatever it is within what you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's flipping the partying constantly, then boy, yeah, I got to flip that. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. But then even then, don't even get the game. Like, I don't go out. I rarely go out now. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? But when I travel, I go out. So that's my, all right, cool, man. I get my release when I go away. So for me, what I tell to people is, yo, grind, but know why you're grinding. And then, but you know anything. And I say this to individuals who put a lot on their shoulders. See, at the end of the day, if I was to ask you lot, cool, name me the 3 things that's most important to you. Genuinely, you'd go maybe wife, kids, parents, or brethren. It's rare that you will say you. It's rare you will turn around and say me. I'm the most important, or I'm one of the most important. And the reason why I say that is, for everything you love, if you ain't right, everything you love don't get the best version or don't get the most you want out of it. So you're doing stuff for the people you love, but don't put yourself. So how then can you not how can you not move yourself in a way where you're like, well, for everybody I love to get what they need to get, I still need to be functioning right. So that's why I say, whenever people say what's important to you, you have to say yourself, because if you're not right, everything you love don't get the best version. And if they do, you can only go the way you're going to a certain point if you're then not taking care of yourself or functioning yourself right. It's like a car. It's like anything.
Yeah.
Your car can be the most responsible stuff in taking you from A to B, but if you don't take care of your car, eventually it's going to break down. Therefore, you can't get to where you're going to get to. You can't make the work. You can't take care of the kids. So you are your vehicle.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to how you balance, but whatever you want can't continue at the point if you don't be able to take yourself out of that situation. And that's the best way I guess I'll break it down.
It's the simplicity again, isn't it? It's the beauty is in the simplicity of it. And I'm going to ask myself that question next time I'm in that moment. I am, because in terms of where the goal's the goal is more right now actually going to be the right answer, because sometimes less right now means I can put more into it tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's where I got stuck in football, because it was literally football, all like constant 24/7 trying to work out. There was never a break. And we'll know all the times that we could have gone on holiday or we could have done this, and I couldn't break that. I was scared if I wasn't working hard enough, then I was gonna miss out. So as you said, like that you can work so hard, and then you take that break, and then it freshens you up, and then you go again. And that's why I probably, when I struggled in my career, because I could not stop that relentless work, and maybe if I could have done, it might have made a big difference.
But and for me, I do think there's a role that needs to be at clubs. I'm talking about to bounce off and to have conversations. When I say, brother, I fully had this mindset where, like, I weren't at training all the time. Partly one for knees, partly two because I was building stuff. So then when I got back there, I was like, both one, it was like, all right, cool. Shit, I took some time off, so I better come and turn up. Do you know what I'm saying? And then at two, it was like, shit, I missed it a little bit. So come, rather than it just become mundane. We know that it becomes mundane, whatever we do. And especially footballs, we're creatures of habits. So we get into a habit, and to the point where we're like, wow, if we break it, it's the same. If we had a good flipping game and scored two, we then try and replicate exactly what we did, what time we ate, what we drank, what we wore. We're creatures of habits, so don't want to break that. But it's that thing where you're like, look, you know what? Ultimately, we still control what we control. And life's about adapting as well. Do you know what I'm saying? But it comes down to that point where I come down where just to be able to have a conversation in regards to, and again, when I'm talking, this is not me saying that it works all the time, because sometimes, when you're like, listen, I'm tired, and you're like, that's just you telling yourself you're tired, because there's times where you've said that and you've pushed through and you felt better for it. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's being able to know yourself, to be like, all right, you know what? If today's a lock-off day, shit day, I had a shit workout, shit. I'm trying not to make that 2 days. Or, if it's two, I'm trying to make that 3 days. And it's that conscious decision to be like, all right, cool, but I'm out that funk. Let me go and do that. And even if it's a bit by bit, sometimes we always be like, all right, cool, I'm going to go on a diet for 6 months. You're like, fuck me, cuz. Well, don't let me eat bourbons for a week. That, you know what I'm saying? Or and try and build that, because 6 months is a hell of a long time. That's how it sees it. So it's a process. And again, I'll always say the thing is that we're not hard, but it's trial and error. Like, it's a given that we're going to fuck up. It's a given. And look, it's however you want to see it, innit? You can say wins and lessons. You can say wins and losses. Depends how you see it. If you see a loss as an experience, then cool, call it a loss. If you see it as a lesson, see it as a lesson. It's how you do your words, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I'll be like, wins and losses, fuck it. Don't try and sugarcoat it. But then ultimately, we remember more losses than we do wins. Do you know what I'm saying? So
fall forward. Yeah. Denzel says, doesn't he? Fall forward.
Cuz, come on. And then
fall forward.
And then get picked up, to be fair. I try to get up by myself.
I'm conscious of your time as well. I've got one really important question, I think, unless there's something you want to ask.
I just want to know, obviously, now you're transitioned out of football.
Yeah.
What are you going into now? And obviously, being in the football team, people around you, bouncing stuff off you, how does that transition now into working in something that's not a team? And obviously you're going, the things I've seen you do, like, is amazing, and you're going higher and higher, and you will get right to the top. So how do you, a bit like football, how do you kind of keep taking those steps? And then obviously there's high rated people, you're working with really well-known people. How do you go into that process, staying into yourself like I know you do?
You know, the thing is, I think with this point now, I think the transition is always, I wouldn't say I'm skeptical, but the transition's always, you know what, not how long can it last. I do find this, I find that if you do something you like, then when things ain't going as great, you focus on because you like it. Do you know what I'm saying? So we loved football. You know what I'm saying? So even if he wasn't part of the team, we loved football. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think my process at the moment is still finding something that I actually want to do for the next 20 years. I haven't got that. Like, I'm lucky enough that, you know, opportunities has come my way because of, I guess, what I was trying to build while I was playing the game. But at the same time, again, I always think that it's, in my mind, I'm like, not that I'm going to fall into something for the next 20 years, but I'm like, there's going to be something that I love. And at the moment now, because football is very regimented, it's very institutionalized, it's the same. I'm very much, and I said this, I'm going to try as many new things as possible, and then kind of what lands. But again, you know, we touched on this earlier. Everything I think you do is life orientated. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got to do what it is I'm doing. Do you know what I'm saying? So be it when it was football, it was me that was playing football. Be it if it was the SAS, it was me doing the SAS. So ultimately, it's me doing what it is. So you kind of have to stay true to yourself. Sorry, but of course, it's new beginnings. Do you know what I'm saying? But in saying new beginnings, I do think that the foundation of everything is interacting with individuals. So it doesn't matter what I do. We interacted with fans, both young and old, managers, chairmen, sponsors. We interacted with that. So for me, it's the same thing. I'd go in and, you know, if it be a campaign or an agency or the CEO, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, interact with you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, not saying try and read the room, but that's the process. I go in and I always try and put my foot forward, you know, depending on the room, depending on the energy you get back. But I try and put myself forward. And then also, I do know we're in an era where, you know, social media is allowed us to be bosses. You know what I'm saying? So it's allowed us to have things that we have in our mind and then, you know, try and put them into fruitions. And I also say it's trial and error, which I do think is good. But I'll always say in the back of my mind, there's always that worry that shit, what if nothing comes in? You know what I'm saying? And because it's not a profession, I would say, that I'm going into, you know, it's me. I'd say I am a personality. I am myself, who's trying to build a brand and go into different things. But that, for me, that's all it is. Because it's me, I think it's a bit easier because it's me. It's not like I'm trying to be any different. I'm now going into these different industries and trying to do different ventures. And you know, fingers crossed, by the grace of God, you know, they land and I continue to get experiences and build experiences and meet people, you know what I'm saying? But that all comes from, for me, it comes from football changing rooms, you know what I'm saying? It's, again, I keep coming back to, we had so many different cultures, you know, so many different age groups, and you're just blending emotions. And I think that's the same when you go into, quote unquote, the real world. So, not that I'm taking it as it comes, but I'm kind of taking it as it comes.
Do you get nervous? Because I've known you, and like how I see you, like I've never seen you like worried. I've never seen you nervous. Like, is there any point like maybe not so much in football, like now obviously now going into a new, like it's a new industry for you.
Yeah, I get nervous. I get nervous all the time in regards to, you know, you're like, oh shit. Oh man, don't fuck up or don't make yourself a meme or, you know, but in regards to, I do think what always helps me is I'm not trying to be anybody else but me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And that, but again, this is not overpowering trying to be me. I'm like, listen, I'm going to be me. And the reason why I stand up, because I feel nobody can do you or be you better than you. So go be you. Yeah. So that's the point when I go out there, whenever I go and I talk to people and I'm like, look, I can only tell things from my experiences. You know what I'm saying? And don't get twisted. Some people may not agree. And some people just be like, listen, I don't take to that energy. We've all known that. We've all known people that just like, you know what, I just don't take to that energy, which is fine. I truly believe you're not meant to get on with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I truly believe that. So, but yeah, I think when you go into anything new, you're like, ah, shit, how am I going to take to this? Do you know what I'm saying? But then I do think you just you revert back to your default settings, and ultimately I just like, "Alright, cool, I'm going to be me in it." So, but then also I would say is, I think it's not that I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable, but I'm comfortable with shit. If I don't know something, I'm comfortable with saying, listen, I don't know it. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
we're going on a debate and they want to debate politics, the first thing I say, I ain't got a fucking clue what we're talking about. But if you want to try and ask me about what I would do in a certain situation or how it relates to me, I would then go on there. And I don't think I'm one to be like, I'm okay with being the dumbest in the room, but I try and put myself in rooms where everybody's at a certain level. I say that, show me your bridges and I'll tell you where you be. So I'll try and put myself in rooms where, there's shit that you can take back. But again, I'd be the first to say, I ain't got a clue in that, or I ain't got a clue in that. Do you know what I'm saying? So ultimately it does revert back to, listen, I'll always just try and be me in whatever I undergo or undertake. I don't know, I went to college and got I don't know what it is, the degree or whatever it is in business studies. That as in, can't remember my GCSEs. I told my kids that I got like 9 A stars and shit like that. They laugh at me like, no, it's not true. But I'm telling them it's shit. But yeah, to be fair, I went to college, and one thing I would say, I'm a firm believer on this, right? So I thought I was gonna be a professional at 16. I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna sign professional at 16. I'm that good. Nothing shit happened at 16. I remember my mum saying, look, you know what, brother, you ain't sitting at yards, so it's either you go college or you go to work. So I was like, I ain't gonna work, so I'm gonna be a footballer. So I went to college and I studied business studies. And it's funny because I'd always say this, and I say, oh, mum, look, you know what, parents have to listen to parents, because I remember what I learned when I got my qualification in business studies. I remember, I think 15 years later, 20 years, when I started Beast Mode, the company, what I learned in that is so how I built that was what I learned. And I was like, it came full circle. So sometimes, like most times, I say this to kids as well, but listen to your parents out here, because they know best. But when it comes to qualifications, I want to say it's a degree, but it's whatever. I got and I did get a first, by the way. So I do flex on my kids for business studies. But yeah, I mean, my whole thing was football. So I was very much in football. And then I do think that what you learn through your experiences is something special. But I do think that you should go ultimately and try and put your best foot forward and constantly try and better yourself. So be experiencing, be documentations in regards to qualification. I do think life's about trying to be the best version of yourself. And that comes on many forms, but just at the end of the day is, when you look back at yourself in the mirror, if you can turn around and say, yeah, you know what, boom, I put in the work and I'm comfortable with what's looking back at me. For me, that's the main.
Okay. I don't think the business studies first will be the answer to this question, but it might be.
Okay.
It might be. And this is the last one we're going to ask you, and it's a big one. And it's weird listening to this whole, like, it's so beautiful to sit here and listen. And I think about titles for the episodes as it goes on, and I was originally thinking authenticity with Adebayo, Akinfenwa, then I'm thinking be you with Bayo. But then, well, Amber, what have you written down? Perception. Okay.
Perception. Oh, that's all right.
But this question for us is kind of, you talked to C-Mac earlier, as you call him. I never called him C-Mac, I'm going to steal that, about how he sees himself.
Right.
Now, this question is not about your football career.
Right.
Because to most, you're known for that.
Right.
And we kind of banned the answer of becoming a father or becoming a parent, because that's everyone's go-to. And it's not a get out of jail card. It's the most proud thing you can feel. Yeah. I'm not yet a father. I'm a kind of a stepfather, but we kind of banned that answer.
Yeah.
Now, my answer to this question was my ability to leave behind alcohol and cocaine. Nearly 2 years ago. That was my answer to this question. Craig hasn't actually answered me this yet, so we're going to come back to him at a later date. But B, what achievement, what are you most proud of outside of those things? I mean, you've done for you.
You know what I guess I'm most proud of, right? I'm most proud of doing things to prove myself right and not doing things to prove others wrong. That's the most thing I'm most proud of. And I say that because I think anybody that's got a dream, and that's everybody, everybody that's been told they couldn't do something, that's everybody. The fact that not only was I able to achieve the dream, which was my pinnacle, but then knowing that the way I wanted to do stuff, the way my process was the way I was comfortable with doing it. So I'm more proud of that I didn't do things to prove others wrong. I did things to prove myself right, as in the accomplishments that I knew as being unapologetically myself was right. So I can sit back and take stock. And I do think if you can get to a point where, however you want to call it, give yourself flowers. I can sit back and say, yeah, you know what? Because you'll know this, especially now, C-Mac, in regards to when you're playing, you're just doing it. Of course, you'll get, goal of the months and top goal scorer and get awards and that, but you're doing it. And I'm doing it. And when you come out of it, you sit there and you're like, nah, man, I did it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I can sit back now, and I do. Sometimes, you sit down and around the people, and you should know it as well. And people be like, nah, man, you know what, we did all right, I say that with the mum, dad, my brothers, say we did all right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm most proud of that. I'm most proud of not doing things to prove others wrong, but doing things to prove myself right.
Believe me when I say this, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I think you've only just scratched the surface of what you're going to go on and achieve. I think your impact is going to surpass way more than you did in football. And it will be by just being yourself. I can see that.
By the grace of God. And one thing I would say though, and this, you can go at, I don't want fame. Listen, I think fame's a drug. I think if you go looking for fame, it's a problem. I think by human nature, people want to bring what's ever on top down. Don't want fame. I kid you not. Just give me money, yeah. Just give me money, yeah. No, but all jokes aside, I'm telling you, I'm like, it's the most weirdest thing. But and I know it's going on a little bit in regards to. So of course I'm self-aware. I'm aware with social media. I'm aware with being out there. I'm aware with content. I'm aware. I use social media, but I kid you not. If you can give me an option where I'm like, listen, you won't use social media again, but everything it is that you kind of want, you've got, and people won't know, but I would snap your hand off. I think we get so disillusioned with the identity and being validated by people we don't know.
Yeah.
For me, but coming back to this point is, look, whatever my path is, and I'll be honest with this, like, as a father, my whole worry is not being able to take care of the family. That's my biggest worry. It's my biggest concern. It's always been that way, So I'm like, listen, as long as my kids are cool and we can experience, but I'm cool. It's not like, but I don't need the world, and I honestly don't need the world. But whatever's God's got in store for me on my path or my journey, I'm cool for it. So we'll watch this space.
Don't underestimate the impact you outside of fame. I didn't mean fame.
Yeah. I know you did.
The impact you have on people.
I know you mean that. Yeah.
By just being you, by just fucking showing up, lighting up a room as you enter and lighting up a room as you leave.
Message, yeah.
I'll let C-Mac sign you out.
It's been a pleasure, mate.
Come on.
Say the gesture with you. Know what a guy you are. Know where you're going. It's been a pleasure, mate.
I don't listen. We went on holiday together with families and that. We close, man. It was real and that. But no, listen. You already know, man. Like, I'm always a phone call away. May take 6 weeks to get here, but I'm always a phone call away.
Pleasure, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No, man, dope, man. No, it's dope. Dope combo, man.